There are railway lines that just looking at them will make your heart sink, where the train crosses deep abysses, sandstorms, or active volcanoes. Today, let's explore the 5 scariest railway lines in the world, where incidents have occurred that make anyone who has passed by hold their breath. Subscribe to the channel to not miss interesting videos. In the middle of the harsh Gobi Desert, China's Linhai-Seek Railway stretches nearly 1,400 kilometers through a no-man's land. Completed in the early 21st century, it became a strategic but risky transport route. More than 500 kilometers of track is exposed to sandstorms and hot winds that could bury entire trains. Only experienced train drivers dare cross, where a sandstorm can wipe out the tracks in the blink of an eye, turning the journey into a race for survival between man and desert. Next, at number 4, is the Salakar-Digarka Railway, which was started in 1949 under Stalin with the ambition of connecting 2 remote industrial regions of Russia. But it was also one of the most brutal projects in history, with thousands of workers struggling between permafrost and temperatures of minus 50 degrees Celsius.
Started just craving something to look at. And when the stations come up,
many rail sections collapsed and bridges broke when the ground melted in the summer. Coming in at number 3 is the Mauritania Railway, which crosses over 700 kilometers of arid desert, connecting the Zouarat iron ore mine with the Atlantic port of Nouadhibou. Built in the 1962, this is the most important transport route in North Africa, but also one of the most difficult journeys in the world. The train had to cross vast seas of sand, endure winds of more than 40 degrees Celsius, and desert storms that could wipe out visibility in seconds. With no passenger cars, many people had to sit on the roof of the ore car, exposed to the harsh sun and flying sand. Each trip is not just about moving, but a test of survival in the middle of the giant desert. Do you dare to try a 20-hour trip in the middle of the burning desert? Comment number 1 if you dare. Next in second place is the Tazara Railway, connecting Tanzania and Zambia, more than 1,800 kilometers long, crossing rugged mountains, dense forests and suspension bridges precariously in the middle of the East African wilderness. Built in the 1,970 seconds with Chinese support, it is a vital but risky trade route. Tropical rains, landslides, and even wild animals often force emergency stops, making each trip on the Tazara a majestic yet dangerous journey through the heart of Africa. Finally, in first place is the Ferrocarril del Sur Railway in the majestic Peruvian Andes, connecting the city of Arequipa to the Puno Plateau on Lake Titicaca. At an altitude of more than 4,000 meters, the train has to weave through vertical cliffs, precarious suspension bridges, and sharp turns in biting cold winds.
Condiciones se encuentran, qué hermosura de... Miren nada más cómo está, en qué condiciones.
Every meter of rail here is a challenge between man and nature. From the most dangerous railway lines in the world, let's move on to the terrifying moments where just one small mistake turned a train into a tragedy, captured on camera. At the Veracruz customs, the train suddenly dragged a series of cars parked close to the tracks, creating a series of terrifying collisions that made everyone who witnessed it shudder. This train had to apply emergency brakes when a column of Russian tanks suddenly rushed across the tracks, just a few meters from the front of the train, in a moment when all lives hung by a fragile thread. In the middle of the snowstorm, the train froze completely, turning into a giant block of ice floating silently in the white landscape. At Station Square, a broken track caused the train to derail and tilt dangerously, sending passengers running in panic. Simulation of the railway collision in Trutnov on the 8th of September 2024, speed 25 kilometers per hour. Virtual railfan camera captured the moment the train derailed at Santa Fe Junction, Kansas City. Luckily, no one was injured, but the chaotic scene left many people heartbroken. In Vancouver, a raging fire engulfed an old railway bridge, turning the night sky into a terrifying sea of flames. A camera on the bridge captured the chilling moment. The train derailed. One car tilted dangerously as if about to fall off the cliff. At Santiago de Compostela, the train shot off like a rocket before derailing. In the town of Shiner, Texas, a train suddenly derailed on Friday night, causing chaos. The cause and damage are still unknown. A water train slowly moves on a narrow track, trying to pass the dangerous section in suffocating tension. Heart-stopping moment when a train almost hit a cow standing in the middle of the tracks, just seconds away from a life-or-death collision. The train suddenly stopped in the middle of the track, a sign that something unusual was happening. In the capital Budapest, the area's Stephen train yard bag strict lockdown, from scorching deserts to icy mountains, these railways remind us that even steel can fear the elements. Every accident, every collision is a reminder of human limitations. Which line do you find most terrifying? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue your journey of exploring this dangerous world. Flinders Street Station, Australia's oldest train station, is said to carry the ghost of fisherman Ernest. He often fished on the Yarra River in the early 20th century and mysteriously disappeared, his body found floating in the river. Since then, the figure of a man wearing old fishing clothes often appears at platform 10, then disappears when anyone approaches. Night shift workers reported wet feet, a chill in the air, and the ancient clocks at the station kept malfunctioning, as if someone was secretly controlling time. Aldwych Station, an underground station that opened in 1907 and closed in 1994 due to lack of traffic, is now used only as a film set. Under the peeling bricks and rusty staircases, the atmosphere is heavy, as if imprisoned in time. During World War II, it served as a bomb shelter and storage area for artifacts from the British Museum. It is believed that the spirits of those who took refuge here still linger. Many witnesses said they heard voices, footsteps, and even saw the shadow of a woman dressed in ancient clothes disappear into the darkness, in the tunnels where the echoes never stopped. Bigunkador Station in West Bengal, India, carries a curse that dates back to 1967. The station master at the time said he saw a woman in a white sari walking along the tracks at night. A day later, he and his family were found mysteriously dead in the station. Fear spread, trains stopped coming, and the station was abandoned for decades. Even though it reopened in 2009, people still say they see white shadows gliding across the tracks every stormy night, and footsteps echoing across the cold platform. Hidden deep in the Ohio woods, the Moonville Tunnel is a 19th-century relic that once connected mining towns, now reduced to rotting bricks and a chilling atmosphere. Many workers have died here, including one crushed by a train while working. Since then, people say his spirit still holds a lantern and walks along the tunnel every night, the light flickering and then going out amid the sound of metal grinding on rails and the wind howling through the stone walls. Even though the train has been stopped for decades, the Moonville Tunnel still echoes with the sound of a train that never came. Gollenfield Junction in Scotland was the scene of a catastrophic train collision in 1953 that left many people dead. Since then, the station has been closed and silent, but people around the area say train whistles and the sound of metal clashing still echo in the foggy night. Shadows lurked around the platform, windows slammed shut, and the wind blew through the rusted rails like a wail from the past. No one dared to come near here after nightfall. Utterby Halt in Lincolnshire carries a sad story from 1953. When railway worker Jean Edward Lancaster died near the level crossing. Since then, people say his spirit still lingers here, wearing his old uniform, holding a lantern and walking along the railway tracks in the dark. Many people hear the train whistle in the air, see the lights sway, and then disappear as they get closer. Now, the station is left with only rotten wood, weeds, and a heavy feeling as if someone is watching every step. Trouble House Halt in Gloucestershire is a strange little station, opened in 1959 solely to serve the Trouble House Inn pub, which is famous for its haunted reputation. The area was prone to flooding, doors closed by themselves, floors vibrated, and the sound of invisible footsteps was unnerving. When the station closed in 1964, the owner sent a coffin filled with empty whiskey bottles on the last train as a farewell. Since then, people still say they hear the sound of trains echoing and doors banging at night, even though this place has been abandoned for a long time. Highgate Station in North London has been abandoned since 1970, but those who have entered say it has never been truly empty. In the dark tunnel, one hears echoing footsteps, distant women's screams, and occasionally glimpses a man in a trench coat who disappears when looking straight ahead.
Highgate Cemetery. Awesome, rest in peace, everybody. Sorry that people will continue.
Even though the trains have been stopped for decades, Highgate is still the haunt of the underground system. Are you brave enough to visit this place at night? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to discover more haunted train stations. In the arid desert of South Australia, Marie's Station, built in 1883 and bustling for more than a century, is now reduced to rusting carriages and sand-covered tracks. Even though it closed in the 1,980 seconds, people can still hear the sound of iron wheels grinding on the rails and see a dark shadow looming in the cabin, exactly like the figure of the train driver who never leaves his post. Amid the desolate sands, Marie still echoes with the breath of a ghost train that never came.